Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Dearest Mother, Love Ruth and John. Ruth Smallshaw Ray's letters to her mother. 1952, episode 69. 1560 Luxor Road, East Cleveland, Ohio. February 9th, 1952. Dearest Mother, Dad, and Bud. I looked for a letter this morning from you, Mother, but one from John's grandparents arrived. So good to get yours yesterday, Bud, and I'll try to do better by you in the near future. Both John and I have been fighting colds this week. Lucky, for it's the first this year. Guess our vitamins have helped. However, most of my kids have been sick and coughing, so I was lucky to escape it for so long. At Joan and Lenny's party last Saturday, it really began to take hold. I stayed in bed Sunday, and with the help of the good old 4-away cold tablets, I was okay for school all week. But about Thursday, John started in, got it from me, and Dick Stevens got it from his children. We're both feeling better today, so are going to Akron for supper, hoping that Ann and Wayne Duff keep their promise to keep the baby away from us. We had Alex over for supper last night. Vera's been away for 3 weeks now, but expected back Sunday. Wayne Duff has a new job as assistant to the vice president of some company in Akron. Now he won't have to commute all that way from Akron every day. He'll be doing some legal work in the labor relations department, which is what he wanted. A young lawyer friend in Akron who's been practicing just a couple of years by himself and found it tough sledding, just won a $30,000 personal injury case. His fee is about $5,500. So they're taking a celebration trip to Washington. I think it would be nice if John and Dick hit a big one of these years. Right now it's a little tough, but then they have the expense of new offices and equipment. Say, we certainly enjoyed Dad's last letter. Very nice. I'm so glad that you like the picture. Do you have it framed yet? I've been telling John about curling too, and then there was the good article in Time magazine which helped. So we have a new queen. There's been so much in the newspapers about it. I've been teasing our friends that Bud's pictures are my twin brothers. I didn't know you had twin brothers, they'll exclaim. I'm going to try my hand at making some more bread and rolls this morning. Happy Valentine's. Love, John and Red. P.S. About my kids at school, for I certainly was pleased with them this week. We have assembly program at school where the children perform. This week the topic was singing games, and my children said that they wanted to get up and dance too. Well, I taught them a little dance, but we didn't have much time to practice it, and Billy had been out with a cold and had only done it twice. Rick told me that one boy had to come out and announce the game, and he'd like to do it. I See You was the name, and he practiced so hard so that he could say it carefully. Well, they were just darling. They walked up and took their places on the stage, and Rick announced it, and they were so sweet. They've done more assembly programs before, but none so well. It was too bad they couldn't hear the round of applause they got, and all the teachers have been telling me how good they were. Miss Kent said, "My laws, weren't you proud of them?" I was and am. They're so good. We have a play store now in our room, and they're bringing a flood of cans to school, bottoms off so they look like whole cans. We'll have fun at the circus Wednesday, I bet. Love, Ruth. 1560 Luxor Road, East Cleveland, Ohio, February 28th, 1952. Dear folks, so good to get your letter today, and sorry that you've been looking for one from us. Also had a nice one from Connie. Says that she saw you in church Sunday and you looked nice. Connie likes your gray coat. She's returning to Regina in April, and her mom is going to Victoria to help Winnie with the baby. Hope they, editor's note, pages 2 and 3 are missing. Busy and turning out the cases. John and I have signed up for a world politics discussion group at our church, excuse me, Monday evenings. We have the reading materials and it looks interesting. Good for us to have some study again. I finished Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace and think it's great. You should read it, Mother. Daddy probably has. We're having Carol for dinner tomorrow night. Don't send the Tournament of Roses back. I didn't miss any work or school, but our colds kept us down so long it seemed. Better now. Good night. I love you, John and Ruth. P.S. I would like the snapback, only one we have of it. A letter from John S. Ray. 1560 Luxor Road, East Cleveland, 18, Ohio. March 4th, 1952. Dear folks, you can stop worrying about our colds. We have finally gotten them beat down to our own size. Bud, we're happy to hear that you're still grinding away on your CA studies. Just take one day at a time and give it your best. We're rooting for you. Red and I have joined a world politics discussion group sponsored by Western Reserve, which promises to be quite worthwhile. The group meets each Monday evening from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. and discusses the assigned reading material. The first meeting was held last night at St. Paul's Church and was on the Atlantic Charter. At one point in the discussion, the question was raised as to what opinion the Canadians have of the Americans. Red spoke right up. I got quite a kick out of it. Slowly but surely, we are getting our law offices equipped. We are presently looking for about 10 sections of shelving to take care of a flock of books which were just purchased. Today I had my first opportunity to watch Mr. Stevens try a lawsuit all the way through. It shouldn't be too much longer before I get a crack at one. My parents and some relatives were in for the flower show last weekend, and we had a very enjoyable time. Red fixed some mushroom roll-ups, which went over in a big way. By the way, have I told you that Red is really a fine cook? She spends $10 per week for groceries, and we eat like kings. Hope that you are all well. Love, John and Red. 1560 Luxor Road, East Cleveland, Ohio, March 23rd, 1952. Dearest Mother, Dad, and Bud, my writing habits seem to be gradually getting so bad that they can hardly be called habits anymore. John's aunts in California wrote that probably our letter had been lost in a mail train fire they'd had. Not true, I'm afraid. Every day I seem to be able to accomplish nothing more than a day at school, bed, dishes, supper, and collapse. So a checkup at the doctor's showed a low blood count. So we hope my added iron pills, 6 a day instead of 2, will get me ready to go out and, quote, shoot bears. Have just spent 4 days in bed with the flu. John is certainly one in a million. I never cease marveling at how lucky I am. He came home at noon armed with $10 worth of Ted's prescriptions for teriyomycin and several others and put me on a schedule. Even got up and gave me a 2 a.m., then a 2:30 a.m. feeding. He's certainly a peach, and I sure hope he doesn't get it now. Then he immediately made a series of phone calls canceling all our activities for the weekend. Canceled school for me and told Vince and Mary we wouldn't be over Friday night. Canceled a luncheon one of the teachers from Bell had invited me to Saturday, and called Berea so Bruce and Jer wouldn't come down Saturday night. He even went to see the doctor regarding my blood and see about my iron pills. I'd suggest you take some, Mother, since you're inclined to anemia too. Give you added energy, maybe, although I guess you look pretty fit. John's mother has gone on a diet and lost 9 pounds. She looks very nice. John's dad and Dick were in looking for a car for Dick last Saturday and stayed for supper. Then we went to Gentlemen Prefer Blondes with Carol Channing, starred at the music hall. Very good. John and Dick Stevens seem to be having a banner month at the office. They certainly are working hard and kept so busy. John even won a case down in court last week that surprised Dick. He thought for sure it was a lost cause, so I'm proud of him. Boy, there sure are some stinkers of husbands in the world to hear of some divorce cases. They make all sorts of efforts at reconciliation before they even file for a divorce, though. Financially, the last couple of months have been lean, averaging about $160 for John, but this month they'll go over $2,000 they expect. At least they're over $1,500 so far. If they do, expenses are about $550. John gets 10% gross. $200 divided by $2,000 minus $750 equals $1,250, and 10% net, $125, which is $325. And Dick gets $1,125, which is a very good month. And he's only been practicing 4 months. I must say goodnight, and we'll try to do better writing. Love, John and Red. 1560 Luxor Road, East Cleveland, Ohio, Sunday, March 30th, 1952. Dearest Mother, Dad, and Bud, 9 years ago yesterday I first started teaching, remember? It's hard to believe that I'm starting on my 10th year. John said, "Yes, and look where it's put you, in bed." I was back in bed again with the flu Thursday and Friday. I felt much better Friday, but Ted Zook said by no circumstances should I go out. However, I'm feeling fine again and hope I can put in a complete week this week since our Easter vacation begins Friday. These 4 days have been the first I've missed this year, so it's not too bad. Joan and Lenny both teach and have missed the past 2 weeks of school with the flu. One of my mothers just phoned that measles, chickenpox, and mumps have hit the deaf classes the last 2 days last week. None of my pupils, but some of their sisters or brothers. We've had such beautiful weather, 62 degrees while I was in bed. Yesterday when I had to go down for my chest x-ray, it rained. Today is beautiful again, and poor John has a bad cold. He's just gone to bed and he thinks it'll be better tomorrow, we hope. It's one of the runny kind right now, so miserable. We had Ann and Wayne and Bobby, Ann's brother who is a doctor, up for supper and evening last night. I made spaghetti and tossed salad, rye bread, not made, and angel food cake with strawberries and whipped cream. We played anagrams and later had mushroom roll-ups and brownies. Their baby Mike is 7 months old and Ann is 2 months pregnant and working 5 half-days a week. She certainly is to be applauded. They've wanted to have their babies close together, I guess. Vera and Alex have bought a house, a fairly large one, living room, dining room, kitchen, sun porch on the side, and 3 bedrooms. It's fairly old, but so many of the new houses are so cramped. It's fairly near here. I'd prefer to get out of the city and have a little land around me. Might change my mind after I did, though. Still, we're not in a position yet to buy. Incidentally, they're up to $1,960 this month with tomorrow to go. At the law office, I mean. Vince and Mary and Susie just dropped by, but they left Susie outdoors because of our germs. Beautiful day. Sorry you don't believe wars will never be averted. Maybe not, but in the 1400s the Black Death was sweeping the country. That seemed to be an inevitable thing, but through perseverance and men putting their minds to it, science has done wonders. Anyway, thy will be done on earth, and we have to work for things too. Love, John and Ruth. 1560 Luxor Road, East Cleveland, Ohio, April 7th, 1952. Dear Mother, Dad, and Bud, holidays are certainly wonderful things. Our Easter vacation started today, and it seems as though each holiday I get progressively more grateful for them. I remember when holidays were just something that I could plan where I would go, and now it seems so good just to stay home. John just posted your Easter parcel this morning, so hope it's not too late. I just couldn't seem to get it wrapped before this. Anyway, Hope you have a very happy Easter and we'll be thinking of you. We plan to go to Sandusky Saturday for Easter. One of my parents asked if I were going home. She hadn't known where home was. I've been meaning to ask you about a couple of my suits. I don't want to bother mailing them if you can't use them, but thought you might be able to. The skirts are too short on me, but I used to wear jackets. I might want them again someday, squirrely as Ruth Nelson Seifert calls it, but maybe you could wear them, namely my pale green wool suit and or the blue one, also the cream suit skirt. Here are a few other things, but maybe you could try them on if you visit us. You know, I sent Auntie Norma a pink nylon blouse for Christmas and never did hear if she got it. I made up 4 cushions in that rust material. I sent you a sample, just plain square style. I'd like to send something for Canon Creel's memorial window. Is there a deadline on contributions, and how much would be appropriate? We've been surprised with another snowfall. The temperature has been in the 60s, and our tulips are up about 4 inches, and some flowers are blooming, and bingo, it snows. The lawn has been a luscious green for several weeks, too. Anyway, our African violet has about 20 new buds. Jer and I are planning a children's book, which I hope to start this week. Happy Easter to you all. Love, John and Ruth. 1560 Luxor Road, East Cleveland, Ohio, April 16th, 1952. Dear Mother, Dad, and Bud, hope that you had a very happy Easter. We appreciated your very nice card. John gave me a sweet one, too, and we had one from Marion and John's grandparents, and also great aunts in Los Angeles. We had a nice weekend. We went down to Sandusky. My cold was quite bad, although I'd been taking stereomycin for 4 days. However, we decided to go anyway, and it was certainly worth it. We had some of John's mother's wonderful meals, anagrams, and good companionship, and it did me worlds of good. Dick and Carol were home, too. I was glad to get your last letter, although there were several misconceptions I felt I should clear up. Anne does not teach. She is a social worker, and I thought I wrote a letter explaining what that was. However, I know it's hard to remember when you don't know the people involved. Then, although we do run into germs, whatever we do, children carry 2.5 times more germs than the average person, and the fathers only half as many germs. Therefore, by working with children, you run into 5 times as many germs as men do. Say, I think you could safely make mushroom roll-ups for 20 people. You make the same amount, 1 loaf of sandwich bread, and everyone only gets 1. Enough. I've made them for 14. Our World Politics group is not a political party, but to promote the understanding of all people. We study fascism, Nazism, communism, democracy, and also what various great writers say. It is only through everyone's understanding that we'll accomplish anything but war. Incidentally, some writers believe differently about Revelation too. A book I've been reading thinks they referred to the Roman times. To the people of that time, things seemed as bad as they do to us now. You must be still with your British Israelites. John's name was on the confirmation list, but he was not confirmed. We had to miss the last few classes because of my 2 sieges of flu and cold. Vivian and hubby didn't waste much time starting a family, did they? Many babies coming soon from your letter. Marion had mentioned Billy, and Marion Burley were having a baby some time ago. Hope Winnie has luck this time. Certainly do. Barbara in my class at school had a baby sister over the holidays and says, "Mother is not fat. She went down." Cute. I'm certainly glad that we waited a while. It seems so important to have a nice, even life for a while. We're very happy that we hope to have a baby in November. Editor's note, that's you, Mark. I resigned from school a month ago for next September so they could get a teacher. Time just right. The doctor says I'm in good shape, have a good heart and lungs, and a good pelvis, and should be able to nurse the baby and should have a good delivery. The doctor is wonderful and had a very nice preparatory talk, giving all the steps and a diet and calcium pills, plus my iron and vitamins. Very reassuring, too. When I told John that the baby was about the size of an apricot and had arms and legs and head, John said, "You mean the doctor could see all that?" I went to bed early in Sandusky and awoke to hear John telling the whole family all about the pregnancy and how our baby was the size of a, quote, very ripe peach. I just about fell out of bed laughing and asked how come the peach size. He said, "Well, I figure it's grown some since you told me." My tired out feeling is natural too, the doctor says. It's early to be telling anyone, so you don't have to mention it for a few months if you like, but we thought you'd like to know the prospects of your grandparent and uncle status. Good night. Love, John and Red. To be continued. Well, that concludes today's episode. Good luck to you with your efforts in family history if this interests you, finding, preserving, and sharing old letters, diaries, and photographs, and interviewing elderly relatives while they're alive. You might consider checking out our website, Adventures in History with Peter J. Ray, at peterjray.com. So far, we've made 584 history videos in 7 areas: world history, American history, book reviews, poetic tours, Cleveland baseball, family history, and autobiography. You also might consider checking out our podcast, Adventures in History. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.